Welcome to Positive Energy with Crystals. My name's Hillary, and today we're going to talk about what I took on my trip that I just went on. It was a 2-week-long trip to Colorado to visit family and friends and stuff and take care of some stuff. I want to go over what I brought, what I used, why I brought it, stuff like that, and just kind of go over stuff. Some of it's crystals, some of it's, well, you'll see. But I love my little bag, just a wizard girl living in a muggle world. So we're going to go over everything I brought. Why I brought it, what I used, what I didn't, all that stuff. So we'll start with, I've done a video of what's in this bag, so I'm not going to go over it right now. But I will put a link to it. You can go check that out. It goes over everything that's in here and why it's in here. Every time I go somewhere, if we go on even like a day trip, I usually bring this. I'm one of those that, why is your purse so heavy? Do you have rocks in there? Yes, I have a bag of rocks in my purse, in my pocket. Yes, it makes it heavier, but I don't care. So this was in my purse, and it stayed in there the full 2 weeks. When I was traveling, I was doing a lot of moving around. I was staying at 3 different houses. I was at somebody's house or business or whatever, somewhere, hospital, doctor's offices. I was all over the place. And so I just kept this in my bag. Now, sometimes when we do, especially the Colorado trip, because I used to live there, so I feel pretty safe, finding my way around stuff and traveling and stuff. Sometimes I'll, during the travel time, I'll have this in my purse and then take it out for the just hanging out part. This one, because I was traveling by myself and I was borrowing a car for somebody and just all over the place, I decided to just leave it in my purse all the time. Plus, being by myself, having, take care of everything, it was just easier. I didn't want to lose them too, so it was just easier to leave them in my purse. They fell at the bottom. It feels like there's a few missing, so I'm going to have to clean out my purse and see if there's some that fell out. I did find one. There's a big piece of red jasper in here. I found it when I was digging this out. So anytime we go on a trip, like I said, day trip, anytime we're traveling, I grab this. So watch that video too if you want to see what's in there. Now we'll go with, of course, I had my lucky lotus stone. I'm not going to take it out because the stuff it's at the point where everything's fallen off of it. And I just, as of recording this, well, I think it was last week is when it posted. I will put a link to the lucky lotus stone video too, and you can see what that was about. It's time to redo it, so I don't want to take it out yet. So I had that in my pocket, and let me tell you about that. Okay, so I think having my lucky lotus stone made a big difference. One was, I'll tell you, both these stories have to do with the airport. So flying out, I fly from Tulsa to Dallas to Colorado Springs. Anytime anybody else I know that has either done that trip or another type of trip has had to go to the DFW airport. And I heard about how crazy it was, and you had to ride the train, and if you missed your gate, then you had to go ride the train all the way around. So one of the things on this trip was I wanted to, if I had to get to Colorado in an emergency, this trip was, more relaxed. So I could figure everything out on this trip in case I had to make an emergency trip. I'd feel more comfortable. So I was all ready for look for the train and everything. It turns out I ended up at Dallas Love Airport. If you've never been to Dallas Love Airport, it is so chill for the most part. It was easy to find. They had, Was able to get Chick-fil-A for breakfast. It was just a more chill airport. So that was a very lucky. Very, very lucky. I had a 2-hour layover, which worked out really good because it gave me plenty of time to go find breakfast, find my gate, doing a little bit of exploring, which came in handy for coming home. So it just worked out really good. Got to Colorado Springs, and the friend that was picking me up, as soon as I walked out the door, she was right there. We loaded up and got me going because I needed to get to where my dad was sooner than originally planned. So, then coming home, there were storms. It was so dry there, and they hadn't had rain in forever. Until like the 2 hours before my flight from Colorado Springs to Dallas was supposed to leave. And then there was rain and hail, and it was a mess. So my flight got delayed because it couldn't land in Colorado Springs. They were coming from Chicago or something. I can't remember where they're coming from, but they ended up having to make a few loops down at a town to the south for a little bit, which actually saved us time later because they never landed they were never on the ground during the hailstorms. We found out that if they had landed, which they could have, it would have been really close, but they would have got hailed on. If they had to have the hailstorm, or if they sat there during the hailstorm, we would have had to have had a hail inspection. There were several planes already that had to have that, so we would have had to be gotten in line for that. So we were late. There was no way I was going to make I only had a 45-minute layover in Dallas to get back to Tulsa. So it just kept getting worse. And I knew I wasn't going to make my flight, and I was stressing out about it, but I was also, they kept saying that the Dallas flights were also having delays. So we were like 2.5 hours late or something like that when we left. Got to Dallas, got off the plane. I was in row 2. I've never been up front of the plane. That was kind of interesting. Get off the plane. I'm at gate 16. They announced that, and I knew I needed to get to gate 5, which I am so glad during that 2-hour layover I did a little bit exploring, because I knew exactly how to get to those other gates. I knew it was a straight run, and because they had weather in Dallas too, their flights were delayed, and they knew that there were 3 people on my Colorado Springs to Dallas flight that needed to be on their plane, so they held it because they knew it was going to be close. So the 3 of us were able to get on the plane, and I made it home that night, and I didn't have to spend the night in Dallas, and I didn't miss a flight. All my luggage made it. That was another thing I was a little worried about, because, you know, I'm running down the hall. Is my luggage going to make it? And it made it, and it was great, and it worked out good. So I totally believe I had a lot of luck during that trip. There's other stuff too, but those were the 2 main stories for my good luck. So that's that. Now, in my daily carry stuff, we got some sparkles. I think I'm going to take the turquoise out. Okay, so always have my amethyst. This amethyst and I have been through a lot together. It's now got sparkles on it. Definitely have to take the turquoise out. It keeps me calm. It's always in there. Black tourmaline, my favorite protection crystal, also always in there. Unless I feel like I need to put my tourmalated quartz in there, then I'll switch those out. But I always have some sort of black tourmaline on me. The blue kyanite also has sparkles on it. Go watch my blue kyanite video. You'll know why I brought it. There was going to be communicating done. it was just calming. I believe it helped during all that. Part of the reason for this trip was I needed to help get my dad set up with a new primary care. He needed to see an eye doctor. He ended up in the hospital right before I left. So this was amazing. I'll show you here in a little bit. I did have my lapis lazuli bracelet for parts of those, but honestly, the blue kyanite was amazing. Now these two are, this is petrified wood, and this is turquoise. So these two, and lots of sparkle. Oh, maybe it was from the bag. I bet it was from the bag. Anyway, I've done a petrified wood video, and I recently got some of these little tumbled pieces that I needed help from the ancestors. That was the main reason, and some protection. You'll notice I had a lot of protection. You know, even amethyst is a little bit protective. Black tourmaline, we'll get to the smoky quartz. I had the petrified wood and turquoise, all protection properties. But specifically, I knew, because I was doing a lot of stuff for my dad, I was going to need some ancestor help. And then the turquoise, my grandma's side of the family, well, I think it's mostly her brother, her youngest brother, loves turquoise. And so our family has a strong turquoise connection. He gives turquoise as gifts all the time. When I graduated high school, he gave me a turquoise ring. And I don't wear it. I hardly ever wear it because I don't like, I have my, my wedding rings, anniversary rings, stuff like that, but I just don't wear a lot of rings. My fingers are too big. And so I don't wear it. But this piece was my grandma's, and I think it was a pendant. Oh, you can't really see. That broke, like, right here. We found it in her jewelry box, and she had this, and then there was an actual necklace with a piece of turquoise on it. But I thought having that there was like I said, I needed some help from his mom, my dad's mom, and the ancestors to help me help my dad. And I'm glad I had those with me. And then, so for the month of June, yeah, the glitter's definitely coming from this bag. I carried smoky quartz, and I'm so glad I did. I knew I was going to want more protection while traveling, but one of the main things is I'm terrified. How do I say this? It's not that I'm terrified of flying. I'm okay on the plane. I'm terrified of airports. I'm afraid of getting lost. Now, I have to say, if you've ever been to DIA, you probably understand. That airport is crazy. And I am terrified of getting lost in airports. And even in high school and even as an adult, most of the times we flew out, we're through DIA. So going through Colorado Springs, it's a smaller airport. It was still crazy, but it's definitely a smaller airport, and nowhere near as crazy as DIA. If you've been there, you understand. Even if you had a layover at DIA, I'm sure you understand. But if you actually fly in or out and have to ride the train and all that stuff, you understand. So, and I know my fear is sort of not really irrational, but it's there. And I know I did fine. And I brought it because I knew that I was going to need help with that fear of getting lost in the airport. And all three airports I was in, great signs. The Colorado Springs one, I think, was the most confusing one. And I got through it. But I'm really glad I chose smoky quartz on purpose. Now I will do that video coming up. Although when you watch this video, I may have already, I don't know what the order. I just wanted to do this one because I wanted to put stuff away and it was already gathered up. So that's that one. Now another thing, I put it in this bag because it's a rough crystal. That way I protected everything else. So I also brought some jewelry. Oh wait, no, let's do nails first. So, if you remember from my crystal infusion video, I infused my nail polish. And I love doing that so much. And I wanted to, that's one of the reasons I was recording this video now instead of later too. Because it's starting to chip, I need to redo it. But I wanted to show you, I showed you the polishes I used, or I was infusing, that's what these are from that chrome powder and the black polish. I was able to stay calm during situations. I was able to figure things out, kind of use my intuition, which is exactly what the crystals that I put in my little infusion pouch, and it was great. It worked perfectly, and I really love doing that. If you haven't infused your nail polish yet, you really should go watch that video. Okay, now let's talk about jewelry. So I also had earrings. I went ahead and put them away just because it was a little overwhelming having that much stuff out. But I brought along my Angelite bracelet. I didn't need to use it, but it was there in case I did. My moss agate bracelet, I didn't need to use it either. I thought I was going to, because since I was hopping around from house to house, stayed the night in 3 different houses, so I was moving around a lot, going to everybody's houses and stuff. You'll see here in a little bit, I have, well, and I've got some in the travel bag too, agates that I think worked really good. Plus, in the nail polish, I had some grounding properties too. And the smoky quartz. Smoky quartz, I think, is what really made the difference. It was super. I need to do that video. We'll talk about that later. So I didn't need to bring that one out. Lapis lazuli, I did bring it, I think during one of my dad's first visit with his new doctor. I think that's when I brought it, because there was a lot of communicating, and lapis lazuli has always been my favorite communication crystal, although I think blue kyanite has bumped it out a little bit, but it's still, I love it. My amethyst bracelet I brought along, but I never pulled it out because I was staying pretty calm. I did pretty good. Now the black obsidian bracelet, I didn't put it on, but I had it in my pocket. One of the places I stayed, I felt safe. It was just, I felt like I wanted just a little bit more. So I had it in my pocket, but I didn't wear it. It was so friggin' hot at her house that even having my watch was too much. And that's kind of one of my OCD things, is I have to be able to, even if I don't register what time it is, I have to be able to look to see what time it is. And so I had to have my watch on, but the bracelet was, I didn't want to put it on because it was so hot. So it was in my pocket. I need to take a break and take care of some stuff, and then I'll finish recording in a little bit. Okay, it's a few days later. I can't remember why I had to leave, but I had to leave. And you see, I've redone my nails. They were chipping really bad. So now let's go inside my little witchy bag here. So inside here, I've got some smudge spray. I didn't use it on this trip. This trip, I stayed with family members, and a lot of the bedrooms, I was even told that one of them, nobody ever stays in there besides my husband and I. So they call it our room. And another one, it's just people they trust. There was one place I stayed that I was sort of borderline thinking about using it, but I don't know. I didn't, and I'm not sure why. I'm always on the side of, if you're not sure, go ahead and do it. But I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to explain that one. So I have that. I didn't, like I said, I didn't use it on this trip, but another trip we have coming up, we will be staying in a motel room that I will probably use that. I had this is my black tourmaline, my little files I've shown before. I didn't use it, like I said, stayed in very familiar, totally okay with places. I had my pendulum board, and I've already switched this out. I didn't have this little bag, but if you watched my haul video, I was too excited I had to put them in. But I had my amethyst pendulum. I didn't use it on this trip. Now I have used actually no, this was the first trip I've taken it on. I have gone on trips where I wish I had my pendulum board with us. So that's in there. That'll stay in there. I got this little electric candle that I didn't use on this one, but we have used this candle last year. We went on a short little trip, and we wanted to do some candle magic, and staying in a motel room, or even like staying at other people's houses, I wouldn't feel right lighting a candle. So this little electric candle, battery operated candle, worked just fine for what we were doing. Didn't use it on this trip, but I have used it in other trips. This is a little, I should let it dry out. Oh, it's funky. I need to clean it. This is a little diffuser. I did use it on this trip mostly because smells bug me, and bouncing around to everybody's houses and stuff, it, like I said, smells bug me. And I didn't realize this was weird. But also, this little I'm gonna have to find something different. This only runs for just a few seconds. You can fill it up, and you can see it obviously gets a little weird, but I don't like this style. I have a white one too. I can't remember where it is, but I need to figure out. This did help. I've got little things of oils in here. Most of them are for smell. Like I've got pineapple, there's lemon, cherry, stuff that wouldn't, peach, lemon. I think some of these need to be refilled too. That you wouldn't necessarily use for other things. But I also have protection. I've got 2 protection oils in here. And I think there was a cherry. I thought I put a rosemary in there. Nope, just 2 protections. I did not use the protection oil on this trip. I know I've talked about it before, and that's why I put 2 in here, is because longer trips I decided I needed to. Now, those 2 are separate. The other ones are for smell and go in here. And smells affect how I feel, how I act, and if I'm overwhelmed with animal smells, stuff like that, then I'm not a very nice person. So to me, I consider that what is scent magic. And I need, like I was saying, I need to figure out a different diffuser, because this one, obviously, I don't think you can tell, but it's, yeah, you can kind of see it's cloudy. And I think that's, I don't know, it feels weird too. It didn't get hot enough to melt, but that's kind of how it feels. I don't know. I'll work on that. For now, though, this works. Like I said, it only runs for a few seconds, and then it stops, and then you have to start it over. So that was kind of annoying. And it's dead because I forgot to turn it off one time. So I'll work on that. But like I said, I've got my 2 bottles of protection oil in here that I, like when we're staying in a motel room, I'll put the drops across the threshold of the door. Works great. And I did add a second bottle. I remember, I think I did a video not long ago where I went through one, but we stayed in 2 different locations, so I went through it a little faster than planned. Oh, there's the charging cable to the diffuser. In here, I've got black salt, Himalayan salt, and then I can't remember what that is. I did not use it on this trip. Oh, cinnamon. So a lot of protection type stuff you'll notice is my theme. I did not use any of these on this trip. But we have been on a trip before where I wanted just some regular, like, Himalayan sea salt was fine. Cinnamon I added because I had a baggie of it, and it's good for protection, for luck, stuff like that. We have been on a trip before where we were sort of doing some gambling and wanted to do more for luck, and part of it was lighting the candle, but I thought having the cinnamon in there would be good for that. And we do stuff like that where we'll go and buy lottery tickets in states that we don't get to very often. Just, it feels fun and lucky to be in somewhere else. So I got that. Didn't use any of that this trip, but have wanted to before. Here's my, did I show these already? Some extra crystals. The bumblebee jasper, which I did use a little bit, but also, if you remember right, my nail polish was infused with bumblebee jasper, and that helped. And then I had some just regular agate for grounding, some malachite for protection and stuff. I did pull, there was just, parts of the trip were kind of negative, and I needed a boost, and so I pulled out my bumblebee jasper. Now, this next trip we're going on, I'm going to switch out these crystals. I don't know for what, but these are like my specific to the trip. Other things, I thought I had other stuff in here. Specific to what was going on that specific trip. So the next trip, I don't really think I need as much grounding or like a mood boost. I will need some courage. I'm terrified of heights, and we are going to do something that's up in, but I think I'll keep the bumblebee jasper, and I'm going to add some bloodstone for more courage, and maybe some tiger's eye for even more courage. And I think that's about it. So I'll keep the bumblebee jasper, and I'll switch these 2 out for the bloodstone and the tiger's eye. And then we have my charms, which I did not use on this trip either, but I have used them on other trips. And they're just fun. They're just fun. I love my charms. And then I brought my little gilded Tarot Royale. And you see the box is beat up. I would love to someday figure out a different way, but this little box is perfect for this deck. And I think I've showed this deck before. And yeah, the box tore up and kind of sucks, but there's really no other way to keep it contained in a good way. And then we've got Herman. He is my travel gnome. He helps me whenever we travel. He's fairly new. This was his first trip to Colorado, and he helped me out. He's just a little guy, and he stays in my little bag with all my other magical stuff. He helps me figure things out. He helps me keep track of stuff. Oh, I gotta grab one more thing. I can't believe I forgot that. Anyway, he, like I said, he keeps me keep track of schedules, where stuff is, and helps protect me, helps guide me through airports. Now, I did forget about him, and he spent the trip home in my main suitcase that I checked like right away, so I need to remember to pull him out. I should probably put him in with my travel crystal bag. I might do that. I'll put him in with the travel crystals. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I can't believe I forgot this one. This is one of the things I was most excited to share. So this is Moonstone, and I know I've talked about this before, but I put a piece, I've got these little pieces, they're different colors, some of them are browner, some of them are more like a peach color. This one I pulled out of my purse, because it's the one I could find the easiest. But there's a piece of Moonstone in every single bag we take, whether it's suitcases, bags, purses, camera bags, whatever. I put a piece of Moonstone in, and a lot of times it's, you know, at the edge of your suitcase. Some of them have that little zipper bag that I don't know exactly. I think you're supposed to hide stuff in it. I don't know. I never know what to put in there. We put a piece of Moonstone in there, and doing that is supposed to help your bags from getting lost. So, like when you're switching planes really fast because of all the weather delays, it helps make sure your suitcases that you checked get to the next plane correctly and don't get lost. I've got one in my purse. I've put them in my camera bags. What else? I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I always put Moonstone. There's always a piece of Moonstone in, and it doesn't matter if we're flying, road trips, even just day trips. I put a piece of Moonstone so my bags don't get lost, and so far it's worked great. So that's what I took on my trip. What I used, what I didn't use. For the most part, even if I didn't use it, I'm still gonna bring it because I may have used it, or like the pendulum, I've thought about using it and just haven't yet. But this is my travel crystal witchy collection. Let me know what you guys do, and if you want to do a VR, that'd be great. Be sure to tag me in it so I can see what you travel with, what you use, what you always have with you, even if you don't use, all that. So Herman says bye. We'll see you next time. I'm sending you lots of positive energy, and we'll see you next time.